Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Or maybe not so happy New Year. I guess we are about to find out. अगर आपने थंबनेल देखा है और अगर आप हमें फॉलो कर रहे हो तो मतलब हमने शायद पिछली बार भी यही बोला था कि कितना हैप्पी न्यू ईयर होगा वो तो पता नहीं बट ठीक है कहने के लिए ये ख्याल भी अच्छा है सो hope everyone has a great 2026 regardless of what we end up seeing globally happen, right? क्योंकि मतलब नया साल शुरू हुआ नहीं कि न्यूज़ पे न्यूज़ आए जा रही है। मतलब आज तो पहला दिन है यार, लोगों को सांस तो लेने दो। बट मुझे मतलब हर बार हम लोग ये लाइव प्लान करते हैं ना, आई हैव टू थिंक अ लिटिल बिट कि कौन से न्यूज़ डालने हैं। जेडी भी सोचता है बैठ के कि ये टॉपिक लेना चाहिए, ये टॉपिक लेना चाहिए। आज सुबह उठते ही टॉपिक की कोई कमी ही नहीं है। मतलब आज हमने क्या आधा घंटे में सारा प्रेप वर्क कर लिया होगा। ऑब्वियसली ये जो स्क्रीन हमने नए अपने सॉफ्टवेयर में बनाया, दैट वी डिड दैट बिफोर। बट स्टिल आज का कंटेंट लेने में, थंबनेल सोचने में, डिस्क्रिप्शन डालने में, ये सब कुछ ज़्यादा टाइम ही नहीं लगा क्योंकि क्या बात, पूरा फीड ही भरा पड़ा है। ये वहाँ पे यूरोप पे यूरोप से न्यूज़ आ रही है। ममदानी जी मेयर बन गए हैं, वॉरेन बफेट रिटायर हो रहे हैं, आपने ये सब देख लिए होंगे थंबनेल में। एंड प्रेसिडेंट ट्रम्प को थोड़ा एक्टिंग क्रिटिक भी बन गए हैं। तो मतलब कुछ भी हो जाए, आई मीन एवरीथिंग असाइड, दिस ईयर इज गोना बी वेरी वेरी एक्टिव। कुछ ना कुछ चलता रहेगा, ये तो पहले दिन से ही पता लग गया है। जेडी, व्हाट आर योर इंट्रोडक्टरी थॉट्स ऑन द न्यू ईयर?
हाँ, वेल फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हैप्पी न्यू ईयर एवरीबॉडी। हैप्पी 2026। लास्ट ईयर मेरे लिए तो काफ़ी क्रेज़ी था। आई नो दर्शकों के लिए भी क्रेज़ी रहा होगा। इन जनरल था अगर न्यूज़ स्टोरीज़ वगैरह देखे तो। बट आई एग्री अभिजीत। बहुत क्या कहते हैं, भयानक शुरुआत हुई है 2026 की। और uh, ऐसे ही आई होप इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरीज आते रहे, भयानक स्टोरीज ना आए, बट लेट्स सी। और दर्शक देख सकते हैं कि मेरे पीछे कुछ मैट्रिसेस रखी हुई है। आज कोई लोग आके उठा के ले जा रहे हैं, तो इसलिए थोड़ा उस पर ध्यान मत दीजिएगा। बट हाँ, ओवरऑल एवरीथिंग इज गुड। अभिजीत, क्या क्या स्टोरीज हैं आज? लेट्स स्टार्ट।
सो लेट्स गो फॉर इट। पहली स्टोरी है कि finally Zoran Mamdani has officially now become the mayor of New York, right? And unhone, he's a Muslim, he's maybe even a practicing Muslim, I can't say, but he basically took his oath on the Quran, right, which is the holy book for the Muslims. And the way this article frames it is, okay, there's some sort of a controversy. I don't see why this is a big deal. The 34-year-old New York State Assemblyman was sworn into office on a Quran by Attorney General Letitia James at the stroke of midnight. He is the 112th mayor. Mamdani, who is the second youngest ever mayor in the city, first Muslim leader, and also required to pay was also required to pay a $9 administrative fee before being sworn in. मतलब यार, तुम सोचो, इससे पहले I-94 US का ज़्यादा सस्ते में मिलता था, उसका $6 होता था। इट्स अ डिफरेंट स्टोरी कि अब $30 का हो गया है, बट बेचारे को $9 देने पड़ गए कि भाई यार तुमने इलेक्शन जीत ली, ये लो $9 दो, नहीं तुम्हारी ओथ नहीं लेने देंगे तुम्हें। With his wife, artist Rama Doaji, by his side, the new mayor wished New Yorkers a happy new year during the ceremony. I cannot wait to see everyone tomorrow as we begin our term. When Old City Hall station first opened in 1904, one of New York's 28, ये पता नहीं ये स्टेशन का कुछ ले रखा हुआ है, पर ठीक है, मतलब वही जेनेरिक सा आर्टिकल है। बट बेसिकली नाउ अब सबको लग रहा है कि ओ बाय गॉड, इसने कुरान पे लेके शपथ ली है। तो इसमें नया क्या है? यूएस का प्रेसिडेंट जब प्रेसिडेंटशिप करता है, he takes the oath on the Bible, right? That's a different story that all US presidents till now have been Christian in some form or the other. Okay, Barack Hussein Obama could be a little controversial, but overall he is a Christian, he took his oath on the Bible, blah blah blah. US ka I don't know what tagline or motto, right? Motto is in God we trust. तो आई डोंट सी दिस एज एनी एबरेशन, मतलब इसमें क्या, इसमें आई डोंट थिंक देयर इज एनी कंट्रोवर्सी हियर. द ओनली थिंग आई वांट टू पॉइंट आउट इज, भाई फिर इंडियन पॉलिटिशियंस को रिलीजियस फर्वर की गाली तो मत ही दिया करो, बिकॉज व्हेन इंडियन elected members take oath, they take oath on the Constitution of India, not any religious book. So when we hear all this religious freedom and हिंदुत्व लीडर being sworn in, मोदी हिंदुत्व, ये वो सब जो न्यूज़ साइकिल में आता है, आई थिंक दैट इज़ अ लोड ऑफ रबिश. बिकॉज इंडिया में तो सारे इलेक्टेड, चाहे वो विधानसभा के हों विच इज़ लाइक असेंबली इलेक्शंस, और चाहे वो फेडरल लेवल या सेंटर के हों, दे ऑल टेक द ओथ ऑन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन रिगार्डलेस ऑफ देयर रिलीजन, राइट? हाँ, वो संसद में जाके दे डू सम, देयर वाज वन मुस्लिम लीडर हु वाज सेइंग जय फलस्तीन, विच इज़ फाइन, विच इज़ एक्सेप्टेड. कोई, आई थिंक someone from Maharashtra may go and say Jai Maharashtra, Joy Bengal, depending on where they are elected from. वो सब चलता है, but at the end of the day their oath is taken on the Constitution of India. So I think this is one place where the Indian democracy shows a better model than the American one, and I'm pretty clear on this. I don't have a problem on which book Zoran Mamdani or President Trump or President or former President Biden, Obama, I don't care which book they decide to swear in their oath on. I just don't. After, I mean, again, then if the US is saying, okay, our leaders can take an oath on whatever religious book they prefer, then they shouldn't be telling other countries where the leaders are taking an oath, elected leaders are taking an oath on the constitution of the country, that oh my god, now we are scared of religious persecution in India. मतलब वो फिर बैठता नहीं है. JD, what are your thoughts?
हाँ, आई काइंड ऑफ पार्टली अग्री कि like this religious book oath taking ceremony is something historical or something. It might be, but again I feel also like it's very old fashioned, and you know I feel it's more like political rather than being anything path breaking. I feel like US presidents and any elected official should work for the people and not for like some specific community, because maybe Mamdani has been elected more maybe by Muslims, but other people also elected him, right? White people elected him, black people elected him, So I feel, yeah, he should focus more on everybody. And another point is he's not the first Muslim mayor of a big city. I think London also has a mayor who's Muslim, and I think he also took a oath on Quran, I think. So again, I have no problem with any book, but I just feel like the idea itself is old fashioned. Um, but I want to talk about something else that's been happening, something related to this, which is a lot of these very left leaning democratic socialist people are getting elected, right? Uh, and because all these big cities, the richer are getting richer, the poorer are getting poorer, and then all these democratic socialists come in and they say like, oh, we'll make this free, we'll make that free. So it's very enticing, and people buy into that, which is okay. But again, it's all fluff, no substance. Like, Mamdani does not have any experience in working for the government. He does not have contacts to make things free that he has promised. And yeah, you could see that, like, his recent meeting with the president, it was all very happy and cordial, and दोनों के दोनों बहुत साथ में घुल मिल कर रहे थे. But he had to suck it up because he has nobody. He has no political uh, strength. So I don't know कैसे करेगा जो भी इसने promise किया है. But I think this is a larger trend कि more people like Mamdani are going to get elected. I won't be surprised throughout the world because of this inequality that's going on.
Well, I think he promise that he's gonna try and make the New York subway system free or something. Um,
I think so, yeah.
फिर तो वही है जैसे कर्नाटका में they decided to make buses free for all women and then they basically ran out of money. So now everyone has to pay even more than what they were before.
He'll have
But
to increase the taxes.
see, what I'm saying is yeah, I think he definitely said that he's going to increase taxes. And I'm like, okay, dude, do it. See, for me personally, ठीक है, he has won an election fair and square. Give him the space, give him the time, give him the respect he deserves. I mean, whether I agree with him or not, there are two things that have to be given to Mamdani or Mayor Mamdani now. That one, he ran a bloody good campaign, right? His campaign was good, so good that or both the other options did not even feel like options, right? So you gotta give him that. And the second thing is he was very clear on who his audience is. उसे पता है उसको किसके वोट मिलने वाले हैं उसी ने he was able to target his audience really well and make sure that he wins the election. So let's give him the time, let's give him the space, let's give him the respect he deserves, and let's see what he does over the past 4 5 years. See, ultimately, all politicians have to come together and work. Like even in India, we see a lot of posturing in the media, but then they all have to come together and work. Even Mamta Banerjee, the current CM of West Bengal, and Narendra Modi, the PM of India, they both don't get along when you see them in the media. They're always at loggerheads, but ultimately they have to come together and work. उसमें वो there is no option. Once you are in power, once you are in governance, things are very different from when you are campaigning. I agree with JD that okay, he has no political experience, he has no background. But to be fair, neither did Trump before he became president the first time. So I think at least his first term wasn't that bad. Second term, we are yet to see. I mean, it's only been 1 year, so um, we have to, you know, a lot of the times you see people who are not entirely political get into a seat of power and then they end up doing really well. The converse is also true. When you have someone who has no experience, they can end up screwing up as well. But I think, yeah, it's just day one. So we have to wait and see how things pan out. Maybe we can discuss this topic at the end of 2026. See, personally, I know now for 2026 there will be a huge news cycle on Mamdani all the time. Something or the other will keep coming out, you know, because every little thing that may go wrong in New York will be Mamdani's fault, and every little thing that will go right in New York can also be to Mamdani's credit, depending on which side of the political spectrum you're going to sit on. I think you at least need 1 year to even have an idea on whether the work he's been doing is it successful or not. So I've never been to London. I've only heard pretty crazy stories. And after hearing all those stories, I don't know if I really want to go either. But ठीक है. You, but again, you can't make a generalized statement. Let the guy do his thing. Let him let him let him bring to life his vision for New York City, and then we can decide whether it's good or bad. मतलब वो सब तो चलता ही रहेगा. So um चलो guys, अगला टॉपिक लेते हैं, which is, let me see. हाँ भाई, ये जो सेलिब्रेशंस हुए हैं न्यू ईयर के अक्रॉस यूरोप, not funny but very interesting indeed. Let me bring up. Oh, okay. Let's go to this one, right? So there are two stories in this one. One is there is a Amsterdam church that went on fire amidst unprecedented New Year's Eve violence against police. Why was there violence against police? I'm not sure. ये एक फ्रेंच न्यूज़ आउटलेट है लमॉन करके. With the Netherlands expected to ban fireworks in 2026, a rowdy New Year's Eve led to injuries and 2 deaths due to firework accidents. मतलब ऐसा क्या हो गया? If they're gonna, I think I think if you try to ban things and then there's always that counterweight, right? Simple, the simplest way to imagine this is, अगर आप एक बच्चे को, you tell a small kid don't do this, the first thing the kid would want to do is that very thing. क्योंकि why are you stopping me? What's so interesting there that I shouldn't be doing this, right? Like what's so bad? So I think banning things, uh, I don't know why they want to ban fireworks. वैसे भी Netherlands में कितने ही fireworks होते हैं. And they're always in a controlled setting. People will, there'll be a fireworks show, and then they'll be able to see 5-10 मिनट के होते हैं इन वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज़ में ये फायरवर्क्स के शो. मान लो 20 मिनट तक हो गया, उसके भी पैसे चार्ज होते हैं. सो इट्स नॉट लाइक इंडिया, राइट, कि दिवाली पे मतलब इट्स फ्री फॉर ऑल सॉर्ट ऑफ अ थिंग. सो पता नहीं वाई दे वांट अ बैन. अब उनको लग रहा है कि अगर एक दिन, मान लो आप साल में 5 दिन देयर इज फायरवर्क्स, राइट. नेदरलैंड्स में ऐसा कितना ही पोल्यूशन हो जाता होगा दैट दे नीड टू स्टॉप दैट. मतलब देयर इज अ रीसेट थिंग, राइट, लाइक द एटमॉस्फेयर विल रीसेट बैक टू. Anyway, I don't know. I find this very stupid that they want to do it. A huge inferno gutted a 19th century Amsterdam church Thursday. And ये भी बहुत interesting है, right? Like people just go nuts. आप प्रोटेस्ट ही कर लो, सड़क पे आके बोर्ड लेके पोस्टर लेके कुछ आके कर लो भाई. Now we don't know who has done this. We don't have any clarity on who was responsible. I won't be surprised if Dutch people were not even necessarily involved in this. Again, this is all speculation at this point, but I mean, just simply, the blaze broke out in the early hours at the Vondelkerk, a tourist attraction. The head of the Dutch police union, Nien Kooijman, reported an unprecedented amount of violence against police and emergency services. See, I've never seen something like this come out of Netherlands before. Violence against the police and emergency services. Like, if police is there to protect you, emergency services are there to help you out. So I don't know what they were thinking when they decided to, conduct violence against the very people who are trying to help you. I mean, अब मैं इसमें क्या ही बोलूँ? I mean, I have my doubts on whether a party just went so wild that they decided to burn a church. ऐसा मैंने होता सुना नहीं है. Germany में, Netherlands में, Belgium में, and all these, Western Europe countries. Yeah, you hear such nonsense in the UK, and then to some extent in France, but never in these sort of northern Western European countries. JD, what's your take?
I mean, yeah, it's shocking to me. Violence against police is not good. Police is there to protect you. So this is crazy. And you're right, like this used to happen maybe, in London, and that's it. But now it's spreading to the whole EU. Like, what's happening in EU? Like, I remember, like, France used to have huge, massive protests that were, protests. They were not, like civil wars. But recently, even protests in France have turned out to be very violent. And I still understand, okay, maybe France people are French, right? But now they're happening in Netherlands, the Dutch as well. So that is just like shocking to me. Like, Dutch people are known to be, very liberal, very relaxed, very chill. Um, so this just shows like Europe is not doing good. There's something like really horrible happening in the bottom of Europe. And as to like who did this, I mean, we have an idea, but obviously, I mean, we can't say anything without any evidence. But I mean, you can look at who was targeted. The church was targeted, the police was targeted, like people were throwing fireworks at police. That is horrible. Like, I feel like in general, like this is some kind of anger from like people from unadvantaged backgrounds, maybe immigrants, maybe, you know, financially poor people against the system. Because, again, as what I said in the first story, like there's been a rise in inequality. The richer are getting richer, the poorer are getting poorer. Now, in a capitalistic society like uh, US, and even like a pseudo capitalist social society like Canada, it's still like well maintained. Would love to hear your thoughts on Canada. But in Europe, because there was so much immigration, they couldn't support people. Now there's inequality, and people are just rising up and getting angry, and this is like the easiest outlet. And yeah, it's just sad to see Europe going down the gutters.
मतलब मैन नेदरलैंड्स में लोगों को कितना ही प्रॉब्लम हो रहा होगा, how poor they could be. So I did a quick search. In 2024, the World Bank reported the Netherlands per capita GDP to be 68,219 US dollars, right? The per capita GDP of Netherlands for 2026 is projected to be 77,881 US dollars nominal terms according to IMF estimates. So I don't think they're that poor. I do feel we'll have to wait and watch, but it's I won't be surprised if we see a similar pattern emerge like we have seen in France. I'll just keep it to that for now because हमें कुछ पता नहीं है and I'm pretty sure हमें ज़्यादा कुछ पता चलेगा भी नहीं, to be very
हाँ.
fair, because ऐसी चीज़ों में यूरोप इज़ नोन टू बी सब कुछ just take a big blanket and sweep everything underneath it. मतलब वही है, बस रजाइयाँ उसी लिए बनती हैं. तो yeah, I won't be surprised if nothing comes out. कुछ विशी वॉशी सा कुछ निकल आएगा. um, the current Dutch government, I don't see them as very, you know, we'll tackle this problem head on types. फ्रांस में कोशिश की थी, तब से 4-5 प्रधानमंत्री बदल चुके हैं. यूके तो forget it. Netherlands, this is something new. So आई डोंट थिंक इसके आगे हमें कुछ और पता चलेगा. कुछ पता चलेगा तो हम वापस ये टॉपिक ले आएंगे, बट आई वोंट बी सरप्राइज इफ नथिंग कम्स आउट. इफ इट कम्स आउट कि ओके, हो भी सकता है कि द सेलिब्रेशन जस्ट वेंट टू क्रेजी, राइट? And maybe the best thing is to not have a firecracker ban. I don't understand why you even need that in the first place. But only time will tell. क्योंकि yeah, I mean, वो ये छोड़ो अब. It's something, I mean, see, I did a big deep dive into the national strategy document national security strategy document of the US. And उसमें उन्होंने clearly लिखा है that Europe will have to start, or Western Europe will have to start owning up to its own protection, defense, and everything. I hope we see some steps in that direction in Europe in 2026. That would be something, instead of getting involved all over the world, preaching everyone else on how to live their lives. मतलब clean up your own backyard as needed first before you before you preach the rest of the world on how to behave and how to. भाई तुम्हारे एम्पायर नहीं है, ख़त्म हो गई है. Live with it, get used to it, and just, you know, stand up for stand up for what's needed to fix your economies is all I can say.
Yep. This is a very e- economy related problem. This is, yeah, somehow these economies are rich, but they're not reaching, that money is not reaching these people who are doing these protests, right? So there's something very, very wrong with the system. So I hope they figure it out. I don't have a lot of confidence they will, because I've heard European bureaucracy. It's like, I've heard from so many people, like it's on another level.
I mean, I've heard from Europeans that Canadian bureaucracy is better than Europe, so that's actually a massive statement. But I
Yeah.
think in the EU, every country has its own setup. Like Germany's bureaucracy is known to be very slow moving. I think I don't know anything about the other ones. France is a very centralized system. Netherlands, I think, is fairly decentralized, so that's actually a good thing. And I think their GDP per capita is one of the highest, so I think they'll be able to bounce back from any issue. Um, but yeah, they may also have to take a, you know, it looks like three others were seriously injured. Two people, a 17-year-old boy and a 38-year-old man, were killed in the fireworks accidents. I mean, even one casualty is one too many, but seeing that this was a very large scale issue, at least two, they were able to restrict it. Three others seriously injured, and then 14 and 10 patients for some comparatively minor injuries. It was the last year before an expected ban on unofficial fireworks. So it's just an expected ban on unofficial fireworks. So it's not even. So the Dutch bought them in massive quantities, according to the Dutch Pyrotechnics Association. Revelers splashed out a record 129 million euros on fireworks. Some areas had been designated as fireworks free zones, but this appeared to have little effect. An AFP journalist in such a zone in The Hague reported loud bangs until around 3 a.m. यार ये तो हर दिवाली में होता है.
Exactly. ये तो
रिपोर्टेड
यूरोप,
बैंग आज तक इंडिया में तो कुछ फूका नहीं है दिवाली में. मतलब ये
हर
आई
बार,
जस्ट डोंट सी
हर
कि
बार.
ये कैसे हो गया. मतलब ठीक है. Okay, only time will tell what the. I hope everything that's written here is as it is, right? कि गलती से एक रॉकेट चर्च में ऐसा चला गया कि मतलब फूक गया पूरा. 129 million euros, $151 million के फायरवर्क्स लिए हैं. um, अब कोई इंडिया में बोलेगा कि वो एब्सोल्यूट नंबर्स में तो कम है, बट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर पीपीपी, राइट? इंडिया में पटाखे सस्ते मिलेंगे दैन नेदरलैंड्स. सो यार ये क्या, 3 बजे तक दिवाली. दिवाली तो सुबह तक मन रही होती है इंडिया में हर साल. ठीक है, द AQI इन नॉर्थ इंडिया गोज टू शिट, बट ऐसा कभी नहीं सुना है कि वन मेजर बिल्डिंग जस्ट कॉट ऑन फायर बिकॉज ऑफ दिस. एनीवे, we can move to the next fiery tale of the day. This one actually does seem to have just been caused by some sort of a malfunction. Fire at Swiss ski resort kills roughly 40. Probably very. This is actually more, I would say, a little crazier in terms of at least the death toll. More than 100 injured after blaze broke out at bar during New Year's celebration. I Crans, Montana, Switzerland, roughly 40 people were killed and some 115 injured in a fire that suddenly broke out during New Year's celebrations at a bar in this quaint Swiss ski resort town, authorities said. I don't know if the bar was overcrowded, but I don't know how an overcrowding leads to a fire. Swiss President Guy Parmelin, who took office Thursday, visited Cras, Montana. At a press conference, he called the fire one of the worst tragedies Switzerland has ever known. Um, on New Year's Eve, locals and visiting tourists had poured into the town to party after shows lighted up the mountainside at the stroke of midnight. See, I want to bring everyone's attention to one negative side of social media here, right? That all these ये जो रील बाजी चल रही है ना टिकटॉक पे इंस्टाग्राम पे everyone wants to go everywhere for to some destination for all the major events that happen around the year, right? तुम्हारा फेस्टिवल्स आ गए, न्यू ईयर आ गया, क्रिसमस आ गया, तुम्हारे लोकल हॉलीडेज आ गए, सब लोग कहीं ना कहीं पहुंच रहे हैं. And then what's happening is the strain on all these places, on all these touristy places. So Switzerland is one of the most touristy places in the world. They are not designed to handle so many tourists, right? कि अब लोग के पास पैसा आ गया है तो लोग जाते हैं. See, I have a feeling, okay, the fact that a fire broke out could be an entirely technical issue. But
Yeah.
the fact that 40 people were killed could also be just because there was overcrowding in this bar. It says over here, right? New Year's Eve, locals and visiting tourists had poured into the town to party after fireworks shows lighted up the mountainside at the stroke of midnight. The fire doesn't seem to be an act of terrorism, but the exact cause hasn't been determined. So we know that okay, there's no malice here. It's just probably a technical issue. I don't know what the right answer is. You can't just tell tourists don't come. But I also feel that uh, I don't know. I mean, places are just getting so overcrowded all the time with just people pouring in from all over the world to go to this one nice place. See, there's nothing wrong with it, but um, yeah, soon countries will have to decide, especially the hottest tourist destination in the world, on how they want to regulate tourism in some way. Matlab, I live in the Vancouver area. It's also a pretty nice tourist destination in winter, summer. Man, like, it's packed. Like, for 30 kilometers in Vancouver, I have to drive 1 hour and stuff. मतलब अब तो प्लान करके जाना पड़ता है अगर गाड़ी लेके जा रहे हो डाउनटाउन में और यू नो एनी कि दैट ओके 45 मिनट कहीं नहीं गए 45 मिनट्स तो कहीं नहीं गए और डाउनटाउन में तो गाड़ी ले जाना ही बंद कर दिया है even as early as 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that wasn't really the case. So I don't know what the right answer is. Japan recently got a prime minister where she's saying that they're going to regulate over tourism. I don't know how they're going to do it. I haven't really followed it. Um, yeah, maybe it's time for at least the hottest tourist destination spots in the world to start thinking. क्योंकि social media तो कहीं जाएगा नहीं. So there will have to be some sort of tourism regulations, and maybe what we'll see is tourist pricing come up all over the world. JD, what do you think?
Hani, I agree. Haan, like be, people need to think about this over uh, tourist touristification of all the big destination, uh, like towns that go viral overnight and now they're packed. So I think, yeah, maybe we should do like a little research and maybe a story in the future for that. But yeah, for this story, I don't think this and the Amsterdam story are related, but they are related in another way because this is not about immigrants, this is about tourism, right? But yeah, like basically, um, I don't think Swiss face the same issue because it's a mountainous, expensive city, so a lot of immigrants don't want to live there, but a lot of rich people come there. So it's a different problem. But again, I don't know what's the solution for overcrowding is. Maybe, yeah, we should maybe research a little bit and talk about it in the future podcasts.
Definitely. चलो guys, अगला टॉपिक लेते हैं. JD, do you want to kick us off? I will bring up the. I'll bring up. Let's. Do you want to do Warren Buffett or Trump and Clooney?
Let's do Warren Buffett, थोड़ा serious topic है, then we'll move to Clooney.
ठीक है. Oh, okay. Share नहीं हो रहा. Let me do that. Okay. Yeah, let's do this.
Awesome. Okay, I can see it. So this is interesting. Like Warren Buffett steps down from Berkshire Hathaway's after 6 decades, 60 years, right? That's insane. That's just crazy. And I know like people have said, oh, he's been retiring for so long. But like the official last date was yesterday, like 31st. So um he created Berkshire Hathaway from scratch, from zero, and now it's a $1 trillion company, and he's handling it over to someone called Greg Abel. Um, and Greg Abel already manages Berkshire's non-insurance operations. So Berkshire main cash cow is his insurance companies like Geico and things like that. But over time, they've diversified into other areas like a lot of company. And yeah, I like this story because uh, like everybody knows he's a legendary investor and he has written a lot of books. People have written a lot of books about him, his way of investing, which is very different from like what people suggest on LinkedIn and social media, like get rich quick. He's like the opposite. And it's interesting time he's going out because right now, I think it says here, yeah, uh, there's mounting pressure to distribute Berkshire's $382 billion cash pile. So it's just sitting on literal cash. That's the second point. Yeah, because people are like, oh, it's a growth market. Why isn't he investing? But Warren's philosophy has always been, uh, when others, when the market's going good, like don't invest. But when market is going bad, then invest in value stocks. It's his been philosophy. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, what do you think, Abhijit?
So Greg Abel, for those, if you for the audience who may not know, he's a Canadian guy, born and brought up in Alberta. Got a degree in accounting, and he's a CPA. 1984, and then I think yeah, his career led him to. यार ये बंदा कंसल्टेंट से बर्कशायर में गया PwC. So he was a CA with PwC, became CEO of Mid American in 2008, and then the company was renamed Berkshire Hathaway Energy in 2014. And I guess yeah, that's how he kind of went up the corporate chain, right? One thing is that okay, Greg Abel is the person who's going to manage all the non-insurance assets of Berkshire, which means that Berkshire is looking at, as a company, most likely is going to start looking at non-insurance type of stocks, which would mean manufacturing, technology, all these good things, right? The problem with the Berkshire cash pile is, for anything to move the needle at Berkshire Hathaway, such a huge giant, they literally need one of the top 100 or so companies in the world to be available at an undervalued price. so that they can even buy enough stock in a way that it doesn't end up influencing the price in and itself. The other way is obviously you buy small private companies. Right now, it's a bad time for both because all the safest companies in the world are already overvalued. One. Two, private enterprise is lower because of the higher interest rates. And the US inflation for this year average has been 2.7%. So it's still, I guess it's in the Fed range of 2 to 3%, but still it's not at 2%, which would be ideal, which is when Fed can start saying, okay, now we can, comfortably say that the economy should start picking up. Right now the economy is already too hot. So the interest rates are high, so loans are costing more. So activity is lower. The other thing is the US consumer market is facing inflationary pressures. Or in simpler words, shit in US has gotten too expensive. And I mean, yeah, this is not the pre-pandemic US where you could go to a restaurant and fill yourself with decent food for 15 to 20 bucks. You go to any यार ऑलिव गार्डन में $25 लग जाते हैं आजकल,
हाँ,
राइट? एंड ऊपर से
remember,
टिप फटीग इज अनदर थिंग. सो
yeah,
Greg
remember
Abel
one
has his
dollar.
work cut out for him. Go ahead, bolo JD.
Oh no, I was like, remember dollar menu at McDonald's or like $5 footlongs.
Oh, in Canada they have $1 small coffee at McDonald's now. अब तो वो size पे भी. Before I never saw size issues in McDonald's, right? कि अब तो खैर हर जगह it was always there, but it's just getting too expensive to live, and that's why there is not enough activity. Compounding all the problems is tariffs. The problem is US can put tariffs into imports and some suppliers may be able to pay that tariff. The issue is retaliation. India has clearly said we're not going to buy your uh, beef fed cattle produced milk. For whatever reason, right? India has said not going to buy it. Now China is also, you know, holding their own when it comes to tariffs from the US and everything. So the market for US goods is basically, even in Canada, right? You see so much Canadian pride all over the place, which is fine. It's okay. Every country has a right to have proud citizens who will buy stuff made in their own country. What happens is then the stuff that US is trying to sell to that country loses charm. Canada ने retaliatory tariffs हटा दिए हैं कब से? Almost सारे ही हटा दिए हैं.
Hmm.
फिर भी people go buy Canadian now. First
Yeah.
thing is it's just grained into the psyche. I'll just buy Canadian. It's all soft. There is no hard stance anymore. At least in Canada. So I would say Greg Abel has his job cut out for him, right? And as far as, obviously he has no shortage of money, so I don't think he's worried about his next paycheck. But he has his work cut out for him in the sense that if Berkshire has to continue to be the literally the bank account type of stock it has been, he's gonna have to navigate the next 3 years of Trump, and then he's gonna have to navigate whatever comes after it. I don't have any reason to say it'll be better or worse. Typically, there is a lot of policy consistency in the US across presidents. So I'm not expecting the next president to come in and say, oh, I'll reverse all the tariffs. Bullshit. That's not going to happen. So Greg Abel will have to manage the biggest investing empire in the world through a time period where overall trust in the US, it's still very high, but it's dropping. Countries all over the world are thinking a little bit more before they invest in the US and before they accept US investment. We are going to get into an era of bilateral treaties rather than global organizations, supranational organizations dictating terms of trade. And frankly, like, it'll be it'll just be harder for companies like Berkshire to justify investment and everything. There can be more restrictions on, okay, you can't take the money out as easily as maybe you could before. Even though I don't think that was necessarily taking money out of countries is always difficult. I don't think any country is solely to be blamed for having unfair laws. Every country tries to keep money within its borders, and everyone comes up with laws to do that. So I, in terms of his skill, I have no doubt he is as good as Warren Buffett, if not even more. Greg Abel, Ajit Jain, these are all people of the same crop. Like
Charlie Munger.
Charlie Munger, yeah, he passed away last year. So I have a small personal story. I actually wanted to attend as a Berkshire stockholder. I wanted to attend the annual conference in May because I had read his letter. I had read the Berkshire annual letter, so I was pretty sure कि अंकल जी जाने वाले हैं. So टिकट मिल भी रहा था, बट वो ट्रिप प्लान नहीं हो पाया बिकॉज यू नो जॉब कर रहे हो आप, प्रोजेक्ट प्रोजेक्ट पूरा चल रहा है, छुट्टी थी नहीं पिछले साल. So for whatever reason I had no vacation, marriage and everything. So फिर मैं जा नहीं पाया. And then yeah, obviously I think in August, September the news came out that okay, Warren Buffett has announced retirement. I was like, yeah, I should have just trusted my gut and made that trip happen. मतलब दस दस $15 में eBay पे टिकट मिल रही थी. Obviously it's not like you'll get to go kiss Warren Buffett's hand or anything. You'll be sitting at the back, but at least I would have heard him speak in person the last time. My gut was telling me that the tone of that letter, because I've been reading Berkshire letters for a long time, that tone of that letter was ki ab okay, he's gonna go. And I'm not saying others didn't figure it out. I'm just saying from that letter I felt he was gonna go, and in this case my gut just proved to be correct. But anyway, it's the end of an era. I think it's the end of an era from in the investing world for sure. It's the end of an era from again in the wider spectrum of geopolitics. Obviously, I'm not expecting I'm not expecting a smoother road in 2026, and the new CEO Greg Abel will have to navigate through this. So I'm looking forward to the letter that comes out from Berkshire every year. I want to see what Greg's take is on things. So
Awesome, awesome. Good words, yeah. End of an era.
chalo guys. Okay, now let's move on to some funnier topics. मतलब यार मान गए. अलग ही चल रहा है दुनिया में. um, let's see. So Trump bashes totally mediocre Clooney in New Year's message. E- मतलब see, this is why I have so much, for all the variableness that I expect in 2026. I'm also like कि यार content मिलता रहेगा. ठीक है, कंटेंट की कमी नहीं होगी हम पॉडकास्टर्स को. अभी जॉर्ज क्लूनी एंड अमाल क्लूनी एंड देयर टू किड्स, they decided to take up French citizenship. So President Trump has decided to absolutely horrendous handling of that is because okay, that is for France, but Donald Trump is mocking George Clooney and his family for becoming French citizens, calling their move abroad good news for America. ठीक है भाई. Remember when Clooney, after the now infamous debate, dumped Joe during a fundraiser only to go on to the side of another stellar candidate, Jamala, who's now fighting it out with the worst governor? Arey yaar. I don't want them to be walking around worried about paparazzi. I don't want them being compared to somebody else's famous kids. Mm, I think I think somewhere Trump had called them average, called him an average actor or something. But good news, George and Amal Clooney, two of the worst political prognosticators. Okay. Mm. I mean, yeah, he's talking about the. Ah, okay. So Joe during a fundraiser only to go to who's now fighting Tim Walz, Gavin Newsom for who's going to lead the Democrat. Clooney got more publicity for politics than he did for his very few and totally mediocre movies. धन्य हो आप.
सब
अब
कुछ
फिर
सब
वही
कुछ
है ना कि I mean President Trump before he became president also has a very illustrious acting career. What show was he the host of? I forgot. Where he used to say you are hired, you're fired. I forgot. क्या नाम था उस शो का यार. बट अगर फिर वही है ना कि ठीक है जॉर्ज क्लूनी पॉलिटिक्स असाइड प्रेसिडेंट ट्रम्प पॉलिटिक्स असाइड बट व्हेन आई सी बोथ ऑफ देम एज एक्टर्स आई नो विच वे आई एम गोना पे मनी राइट लाइक मैं ओशंस 11 12 13 देख के बड़ा हुआ हूँ यार. uh, फिर आई मीन अब see officially speaking what George Clooney is saying is I don't want my kids to have so much I don't want them to be so close to Hollywood culture. And I agree with him actually. Like in India, we see Virat Kohli and Anushka Sharma moving to the UK. यार यूएस में इंडिया में फेमस पर्सनालिटी होना मतलब तुम्हारी जिंदगी झंड है. You don't have a moment of privacy. You don't have a moment where you can just be yourself. मतलब मतलब जब भी शाहरुख खान यूएस आता है न्यूज़ में चल रहा होता है उसको एयरपोर्ट पे रोक दिया. किसी को कुछ पता नहीं हो उसे एयरपोर्ट पे रोका हो या ना रोका हो. शायद रोका भी होगा नहीं भी रोका होगा क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है हमें. बट न्यूज़ पे चालू हो जाएगा. तुम सोचो बंदा आया है मूवी शूट करके जा रहा है बस नहीं उसको एयरपोर्ट पे रोक लिया. विराट कोहली अनुष्का शर्मा जैसे लोगों को तो एक भी कदम वो बाहर नहीं रख पाते होंगे विदाउट कैप एंड एवरीथिंग राइट जस्ट बिकॉज घुस लोगों को शर्म भी नहीं आती अक्ल भी नहीं है. सो इफ ही हैज डिसाइडेड दैट अपार्ट फ्रॉम what was his official statement, right? Let's see.
whose statement, Trump or Clooney?
George Clooney's. I don't want them to be walking around worried about paparazzi. I don't want them being compared to somebody else's famous kids. A good portion of my life growing up was on a farm. Yes, he's from Kentucky, so he's not lying about that. And as a kid, I hated the whole idea of it. But now, for them, it's like they're not on their iPads. They have dinner with grown ups and have to take their dishes in. They have a much better life, right? तो बंदा सिंपली कह रहा है कि भाई मुझे हर समय आई वॉन्ट माई किड्स टू जस्ट नॉट हैव टू थिंक अबाउट paparazzi all the time. I don't want to think about I don't want to I don't want them to have to worry about oh इन्होंने देख लिया हमने कुछ गलत कर दिया न्यूज़ बन गई. क्योंकि मीडिया तो फिर मीडिया है उनको कुछ भी बाइट मिलेगा वो कुछ भी कर करा के तोड़ मोड़ के न्यूज़ चैनल पे चला देंगे अपने. उनको तो व्यूज से मतलब है क्लिक से मतलब है टीआरपी से मतलब है. दे डोंट केयर अबाउट what impact it has on the individual. So they decide to take up French citizenship. Now I'm curious because France में जब citizenship लेनी होती है you have to pass a French language test. But फिर वो ये अमीरों के rules भी अलग होते हैं. So, according to the Associated Press, France's foreign ministry said Clooney and his family were eligible for citizenship because they contribute through their distinguished actions to France's international influence and cultural outreach. ठीक है. इसमें मैं क्या ही बोलूँ यार. कब कब जॉर्ज क्लूनी ने आके ठीक है. फिर वो है ना जैसे लुइस हैमिल्टन को ब्राज़ील की ऑनररी सिटीजनशिप दे रखी है भाई,
Citizenship.
वही है, पैसा फेंक तमाशा देख. बट एनीवे, इट्स देयर मनी, दे गेट टू डिसाइड. आई एम ओके विद George Clooney and Amal Clooney. They can choose where they want to live. It's their money. When it comes to acting between Donald Trump in his previous avatar and then George Clooney in his non-political avatar, just as pure actors, I personally prefer George Clooney. If any of you have a different opinion, please leave it in the comments. But JD, तुम बोलो, तुम्हें क्या लगता है?
Yeah, I mean, I feel कि बेस पॉलिटिकली क्यों ट्रम्प अटैक कर रहे हैं इन लोगों को. द नंबर वन रीज़न इज एक्चुअली क्लूनी is a very influential liberal. So remember, like back when Biden was running, he made an op-ed in some magazine, I think New York Times, yeah, Washington Post or something, asking is Biden okay? Is he old? And that triggered the soul searching within the Democratic Party to search for a new nominee. उससे पहले वो भी oblivious थे, नहीं नहीं बाइडन ठीक है, बाइडन अंकल ठीक है, बुढ़े नहीं है. बट ही एक्चुअली इज वेरी इन्फ्लुएंशियल, वेरी कनेक्टेड. सो इसलिए समझ में आता है कि ट्रम्प क्यों अटैक कर रहा है डायरेक्ट. सो दैट्स द पॉलिटिकल पार्ट. बट I want to touch on a again economic aspect which is kind of related to our other stories. Like France. Why are you giving citizenship to rich, attractive actors when you should be giving citizenship to aspiring actors, aspiring engineers, aspiring people who want to contribute to your economy using their skill. लाइक क्लूनी पैसे कमा चुका है. मुझे नहीं लगता कि क्लूनी अपने पैसे फ्रांस में रखेगा भी. उसने
नहीं,
रखे होंगे
एस्टेट तो
चार पांच
खरीद लिया ना
कंट्री.
ब्रो, इतना महंगा. अब वो एस्टेट का भी प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स तो दे दे कि फ्रांस की गवर्नमेंट अमीर हो जाएगी यार.
हो जाएगी यार, बट लाइक इट्स अ वेरी शॉर्ट टर्म वे ऑफ लुकिंग एट थिंग्स. इफ यू वांट टू क्रिएट गुड वेल्थ इन अ कंट्री, यू शुड बी ब्रिंगिंग इन इमिग्रेंट्स हु विल कंट्रीब्यूट टू द फ्यूचर. अब जैसे अपने आप को देख लो, हम लोग जैसे H1B वगैरह आते हैं, वी आर वर्किंग ऑन लाइक फ्यूचर टेक्नोलॉजीज, राइट? वी आर नॉट रिच राइट नाउ, but maybe in the future we will be. Like look at all the tech CEOs and all these kind of people, right? ये क्या मतलब एक्टर्स को लेके आ रहे हो, ब्रांडिंग अच्छी कर रहे हो, ये सब पहले से ही रिच है. तो आई एम जस्ट आस्किंग फ्रांस की लाइक दे शुड लुक अ लिटिल डीपर into the kind of people they're attracting.
Yeah, the thing is, see, I don't know if see, I don't know if we can single out France, right? हर country में कुछ ना कुछ तो होता ही है for ultra rich people to come in. I mean, I don't think, see, I don't think this is either a good or a bad thing for the US, like इस article में जो लिखा हुआ है, or I think they are quoting Trump's tweet, right? That it's a good thing for America. I don't think it's a good or a bad thing for America. It has a net zero impact on where four people who decide to live in France. ऐसा तो कहीं नहीं लिखा है ना that they're giving up their American citizenship just because
Mhm.
Donald Trump is president, right? I don't think none of they just want a place where they are not haunted by American paparazzi, or in fact, for that matter, global paparazzi. And in France, they probably don't get as much attention as they would in America, UK, maybe even or any of the other English speaking countries because everyone knows their faces. I think and then they maybe just did an assessment ki okay, if not an English speaking country, then where else can we fit? Okay, France ka le liya. Ideally France again these kind of normal curve based statistics don't affect the ultra rich like the Clooneys, right? So France is technically now become a fairly unsafe country. But wherever their chateau or whatever they have bought क्या है वो उनका पूरा एस्टेट जो है, it's obviously not in gonna be in some sketch part of Paris, right? It's gonna be in some very quaint, nice, upscale neighborhood where the median income earner of France can't even think of living. So those kind of things don't apply to them. अब जॉर्ज क्लूनी मूवीज में कितना आ रहा है, लाइक आई डोंट इवन नो. आई थिंक द लास्ट मूवी ऑफ हिज आई सॉ वाज द मैन फ्रॉम अंकल. नो, मे बी ही वाज नॉट इन इट, आई डोंट नो. सम
नहीं, but dude, you have to remember, like, he sold that mezcal company, so he's probably like a multi-millionaire.
आई हैव नो आइडिया ही हैड अ मेस्cal company.
Yeah, just
I
Google.
had no idea.
Oh yeah, he sold it for, I think, some billions of dollars. He had a Casamigo mezcal company, and yeah, he
तो
sold it for
ठीक
a
है,
lot of
उसने
money.
दारू
He's rich.
बेची, अब उसकी कंपनी बेच ली, ही हैज हिज मनी. सो सी, द अदर थिंग कुड जस्ट बी, यू नो, यू आर ट्राइंग टू अवॉइड डबल टैक्सेशन ऑफ यूएस, राइट? तो उन्होंने वो इधर से कंपनी मेक्सिको में, अगर आई डोंट नो इफ इट वाज हेडक्वार्टर्ड इन मेक्सिको और नॉट, आई एम गेसिंग मेस्कैल है, मे बी, I'm just guessing, but it could just be for tax reasons. But again, if they're not giving up their American citizenship, then they're anyways going to be dual taxed. So even that doesn't matter. For me, I'm just basically, my main purpose of this article was कि 2026 कैसा भी हो, content की कमी नहीं होगी. You can
हाँ,
always expect something to come out like this. That
something
President Trump
crazy.
has an opinion, and it'll just be fun to read about it. मतलब बाकी जॉर्ज क्लूनी को जहाँ रहना है रहे भाई, मोर पावर टू हिम. आई मीन ठीक है, मे बी ओके, ही इज अ डेमोक्रेट अभी, बट ठीक है, रिपब्लिकन्स हैव एब्सोल्यूट पावर, राइट? पॉपुलर वोट उनका है, कांग्रेस में दे हैव अ मेजॉरिटी, सेनेट में दे हैव अ मेजॉरिटी, और क्या चाहिए तुम्हें? मतलब when we look at the parameters of political power in the US, the Republicans have everything right now. They at least have it at a minimum for the rest of 2026. So बस उसमें ठीक है, वो उन्हें कुछ बोलना था, उन्होंने बोल दिया ट्रूथ सोशल पे, एंड हमें कंटेंट मिल गया बात करने के लिए, और क्या.
और क्या चाहिए?
तो हाँ, चलो गाइस, कुछ let's move on to the last one for the day. क्या था ये? नहीं, हो गया ना, ये हो गया ना हमारा. हाँ हाँ
हो
हाँ,
गया.
हो गए हमारे टॉपिक्स. सो या आई गेस गाइज, ये हमारा फाइनल टॉपिक था. I wanted to try and end it on something funny, but not just funny, we also want to torture everyone a bit, right? हम ही क्यों ये सब देखें? तो आज हम आपके लिए एक मीम भी शेयर करेंगे. फुल क्रेडिट टू द हैंडल दैट हैज क्रिएटेड दिस इज़ नॉट आवर क्रिएटिविटी. आपको उनका नाम दिख जाएगा इंस्टाग्राम पे, सो प्लीज़ उनका जाके भी सब्सक्राइब करें, शेयर करें, बट प्लीज़ ये ज़रूर देखिए, ये आपकी ज़िंदगी बदल देगा. As we know, there is a popular movie called Dhurandhar, and then there is a popular song in that movie called ना तो कारवां की तलाश है. इन सज्जन ने ये गाना अपनी मधुर आवाज़ में गाया है, तो प्लीज़ सुनिए और इन्जॉय कीजिए.
आंधी बन के आया हूँ, मेरा हौसला भी यास है, ना तो कारवा की तलाश है, ना तो कारवा की तलाश है, ना तो हम सफर की तलाश है, ना तो कारवा की तलाश है.
एक बार और सुना देता हूँ आप लोगों को. प्लीज़ आप ये पार्ट स्किप नहीं कर सकते हैं वीडियो का, ये देखना ही पड़ेगा.
आंधी बन के आया हूँ, मेरा हौसला भी यास है, ना तो कारवा की तलाश है, ना तो कारवा की तलाश है, ना तो हम सफर
guys, with that, let's sign off for the day. प्लीज़ लाइक कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए. A very, very, very happy new year to everyone. And yeah, hope to see you guys soon. आप अपने कारवा की तलाश में आगे बढ़िए, हम भी बढ़ते हैं. Alright, see you guys.
Okay, Happy New Year, guys. See you.
चलो, bye bye.